Okay, Alan, thank you so much for having us. It's a pleasure to be here again. Hello everyone, I'm Natalia, and we are here to talk about open finance. So what is open finance? So it's a really interesting movement that will allow companies to share their information, in financial institutions to share their information related to their products and services, offers, new product designs that they will have, and also allow customers to share their information with other institutions as long as they give their consent. So it's a very interesting movement for those end users, for them to get access to financial services, to digital digital channels, and also have the opportunity to expand their acting on the financial ecosystem, let's say that, more access to products, and also learn more about offers that these companies might give them. When we look at the current situation that we have, Brazil is currently implementing open banking, and we are inheriting some processes that were originated in UK. And we are implementing right now the integration between open banking and payment methods, such as Pix. It's an instant payment method that we have here, allowing customers to use their QR codes to make payments. And for us to learn interesting new cases that we can apply and opportunities here in Brazil, we are also looking at other regions. So what North America is doing, what Europe is doing, so we can learn from them, and then actually also share what we are doing here. So there are a lot of, look who's here.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello, Rafael. So we were talking already about open finance, and I was talking a little bit about what we are doing here in Brazil and the influence that other regions have on us, and the impact that it's causing, and a little bit about what those countries are doing that can inspire and bring services with us.
And Alan, and Natalia, if you allow me a comment here. So open finance, you mentioned at the start, it's something that has been here, and it's not new. Everything started with open banking, and what exactly open finance is, it's some are saying that it's the next step of open banking, right? Bringing the ecosystem, the whole financial industry together. Some would say that it's the attempt to get success, because open banking wasn't really successful as some institutions, or at least a wider population, was expecting it to be. But in my personal opinion, I still believe that is the next step of open banking. It's bringing more collaboration into the ecosystem. Yeah.
Right, that's what I'm seeing as well, is that, especially here in Europe, the banks were all forced to be open already since some time, but a lot of banks have done just the basics. Using examples now of, taking that step towards, full openness and getting new products and services.
Yeah, I agree. And, normally when I attend events or when I'm talking to people about all of these open initiatives, right? The title of this conversation is "The Future is Open." There's much more than just open banking and open finance, right? There is talks about open health, about open insurance, about open retail. Even though I joined a conference a couple of months ago, and there was a very interesting discussion about opening the retail, or not opening, but more about trying to regulate. It's not really the word that I'm looking for, but it's about standardization of the industry, because retail may be quite broad. But the future is open. In fact, we've been thinking about open data, which ultimately will be the end result of all this. Yes.
We could include in the open world the open education as well. we have been talking about how we can bring the concept of open APIs and open data to open education. And so that conversation had just started here. We have talked a little bit about it, and we see a lot of potential as well as in the education ecosystem, and how can we make the data open for the users, for the students, and for the universities and schools as well.
Yeah.
And also as a follow-up question to that, then, how are you going to secure that open data, right? Especially when you're talking about health, education, and things like that. How do you make sure the data is only getting to those people who should have access to it?
Yeah, and I would say that that's a very important question. And having a conversation about this a couple of weeks ago, one of the things that concerns the most, I would say, the end consumers is, okay, what are you doing with my data? Especially when we talk about banking, right? Banks back in the days, they would be holding all the data, putting loads of security around it, wrapping up all the data, all their regulations would be protecting all the data. And that's what customers learn from banks. My data is secure there. And now banks come to the customer and say, hey, consumer, I'm going to share your data with this guy here. Are you happy with it? And for the consumers, it's really weird, I would say, because how come yesterday you were telling me that my data was fully protected under your control, and now you are giving my data to someone that, yeah, I know or I don't really know. So I think that security, it's the most important thing. How we can achieve that, I see multiple different initiatives. One, it's education. So it's teaching the end consumers that there is security, that even though the data is going to be shared, there's a way to share that in a secure fashion. There are concerns, of course, that if I shared my data from my bank to a fintech for a specific purpose, is this fintech then going to share this data with third party? Because there is another processing part of this thing. But I think it's all about the education. The rules are there, of course. There are fines that are, given to the players if they don't comply with regulation. But not going to tacky here, but there are great, let's say, security patterns that allow consumers to identify themselves with fingerprinting, with face recognition, to say, yes, I'm sharing this data and I'm really Gibson. So I'm not Rafael and trying to, because there's a fingerprint. So I'm sharing the data, I'm consenting the data, and I agree that it's me sharing this data. And there's always, of course, again, not going to tech it here, but we protect the channels. So the data that is transmitted from A to B, it's fully protected. We make sure that whoever is receiving the data has the right keys to open that data. If they don't get the keys, they're not able to do that. So there is security all over the place from the moment that the end consumer authenticates himself to really say, yes, I am that person who is saying, okay, from the moment that the fintech receives the data and tries to decrypt that information. So there's loads of protections in place to guarantee that all of this data exchange, it's actually performed in a great fashion. Great.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. And if we tackle it from the other side, right? So the education of the consumer, but how do you create that desire within the consumer to want to give that data? So what kind of products and services have you seen that really sort of drive this, giving of data and wanting their open data? I think you mentioned one already. Was it the PIC system? I think it was, you said.
Yeah. Well, I guess the users or the consumers, they are going to be really confident in sharing their data once they really see benefit from it. So once institutions start offering customized products and services, and the user really see that and say, hey, this really fits for me. Like it seems like it was made for me. So that's when users will be confident in sharing their data. And in Brazil right now, the instant payment ecosystem had created this Pix functionality, which is a instant payment feature, and all the institutions, pretty much all the institutions down here in Brazil, they have implemented, and that really brought real benefits for users. So to give an example, before Pix in Brazil, we had in order to make a transaction to another person, let's say a P2P transaction, most of the people, they had to pay for that. So they had to pay couple reais to transfer money to another person. And with the Pix system, it's now free. So you can send money 24 hours a day. The money will be in the other person's account instantly, and that brought real benefits to the consumers. So we could see that the use of Pix started really small and really shy, and by the time in less than 1 year, Pix is now one of the most used payments in Brazil. So and that gives the Pix the opportunity to be on open banking right now. So open banking is implementing the Pix payments here in Brazil, and I guess that example is really what I expect from the open banking in a couple of years, is when institutions can really offer customized products and services and bring real benefits for clients, and that's when I think the ecosystem will be ready to to be used and to bring real new products, new features, new services for everybody.
Yeah, if I could add to that, I think credit and loans will be the most interesting offer that we can have, especially when we talk about Brazil or any other country that has a population that it's not so wealthy. I'm not sure if I can say it like that. And these are the advantages that open banking will bring. During the pandemic in Brazil, we had over 70% of the population getting into the system. So these people started gaining access to this kind of offer, and they will have more opportunities to live better and to even have opportunities to learn more from this ecosystem. So.
Yeah, makes sense. Do you think that the whole open finance thing will be pushed more by the banks, the established banks, or do you think it will be on over the top players, like new guys coming along and starting new things, or do you think the banks will catch up?
I personally, I think that the banks will actually catch up with the ecosystem, because again, open finance, it's all about the whole ecosystem. So we see loads of movements coming from insurance, for example, fintechs, bringing new things, trying to build new applications, build new, let's say, offers for end consumers. And I think that the banks will end up saying, yes, we do need to really participate in this. Banks, they're very traditional, right? Even some banks are more advanced. Some banks really said, yes, this is the way to go. Let's go digital. Let's bring this. We have all the data. And banks, they own most of the consumers' data. But then maybe for that reason, they don't want to give up all of that information, because it's something that some banks think we should be doing this and not a fintech. But we do see some banks saying, yes, we need to follow this trend. Some banks are either acquiring fintech companies to be able
Right.
to do that, or some of them are acquiring or are joining some parts of the ecosystem. And just from what Natalia and Isquierdo were talking about examples, I think that once we get a combination of the whole of different industries or different verticals inside the financial services industry, if you get insurance working together with payments, so if you're buying something, your bank identifies that you are buying something that normally every year or every few months you always buy that same thing, that same product, and they can identify patterns to then say, do you need insurance for this? Or do you, I'm going to give you a specific discount because we're now bringing retail as well. So I think that then the whole open banking or even the open finance initiative will become much more attractive for the end consumers. So
right, and I've been hearing a lot over the last few months the word embedded, so embedded finance, embedded insurance. Do you see, is there a difference there between like open insurance and embedded insurance, or is it exactly the same thing? I may have put you on the spot there, but it just kind of occurred to me, that because that what you were saying there seemed to me a good case of like embedded insurance. So you're buying something and then embedded within the checkout process is the insurance. Oh, by the way, you've just paid $6,000 for this product. How about getting some insurance with it? So, just in time insurance. But is there a difference there between like embedded and open?
Well, I guess it's the embedded. It's the next step for open APIs, I guess. That seems to me that the companies are already trying to work a way to bring that benefit that we were talking about to users. So once you have all the ecosystems open, how can we make those ecosystems talk to each other? So this example was a perfect example of buying something that might require or might be interesting to have insurance. So why not to offer insurance for that client that just bought a car or cell phone or something like that? So that will be the next step for open, is when you embed a special or customized offer for the customer. And I think that's very, very, very new. The companies are still trying to figure it out how they can do that. So to give you another example, here in Brazil, we have two main initiatives of open banking and open insurance. And just now, like last week, these two initiatives started talking about how can they talk to each other, how open banking and open insurance can talk to each other to provide real benefits for users. So it's a really open sea that we can explore for sure.
Yeah, and I think that the embedded insurance it's actually part of the open insurance initiative, because you're going to, and this will, like, just echoing Rafael here, you're going to start embedding not only insurance, but you're going to start embedding payments as well. So you buy your insurance and then you get the payment embedded. So multiple, we kind of have this already, but we'll be able to embed new things. So if you think from utility standpoint, you may start embedding new things when you're hiring your insurance, you're hiring a different provider, utilities provider. And specifically from the insurance industry, there is a great trend, because again, another very traditional industry, insurance, you talk to your insurer once a year, right? Only during the renewal, and that's it. And then you're gone.
Yeah.
They only come back to you with the email saying renewal time. Don't forget.
Right.
But there's this new trend. I forgot the name, but it's like a mobile instant insurance, where you only buy insurance for the period of time. So you're renting a car, you don't want to hire the insurance that the rental car company is giving to you, just hire insurance from someone from 2 days, and that's it. Or you're going to travel. We used to do that with travel insurance, right? But it's a concept that is actually extending to anything. So you can hire, you are going to travel somewhere, you have your mobile phone, and you want to insure your mobile phone specifically for that period of time that you're traveling. So this kind of new ways to sell insurance, this is all part of the open insurance initiatives and perhaps the embedded insurance as well, because sometimes from your mobile, so your digital bank, they offer you these kind of things. You just click on something, you are insured for a period of time, and that's it. So this is the new trends. Yeah.
Yeah, I can really see a lot of applications for that. I mean, just one example, I work with a bicycle insurance company called BICMO, and those guys sell insurance for athletes and their cycles, right? So challenge there is, getting through to them. But if you have, for example, a GPS device that you download routes to, that can be a trigger to say, okay, you need the insurance if you're going to do this route. It's a crazy route somewhere, right? So finding these opportunities to embed this stuff in, and like you said earlier as well, it's not just finance, insurance, it's also health and all sorts of things. I'm a bit conscious of time. We got a couple of minutes. Just sort of closing question would be like the how question. If I'm an institution, I want to do something open with my data, how should they go about that?
Natalia, do you want to take this one?
Sure. You mean if you were a client that wants to share your data with other institutions, what would be the step-by-step, let's say? Well, the institution will guarantee that your data will be fully secure and there will be processes like Gibson said, the secure processes for this transaction to be made end by end to the other end, and it will be the opportunity for these customers to have to know what are the offers that the financial institution will have. So we are already seeing that people in other countries are doing that and benefiting from this kind of things, and I think it will encourage people to do more and more.
Yeah, and if I may just conclude this is more from an end user, but from, let's say, an enterprise-wide, right? So a company wants to open their data. We normally say that this is a process, it's a journey. It's about understanding what kind of data you want to explore, how you will enable that from a technical standpoint, always aligning with business, understanding where you want to be in this ecosystem, if you want to be part, if you want to provide the ecosystem. And then it's about learning what you've done and repeating it step by step. But it's about understanding what you want to do and how you want to do it.
Makes a lot of sense.
If I might add something, exposing open APIs and managing open APIs is a really big challenge for the industry to understand and to learn how to do it. So I think I talked about that last time, and I bring that again because it's a really huge step for some companies that don't have an entire API knowledge in-house, let's say this way. So they have to learn how to expose APIs and how to manage all their data and how to secure that data it's really not leaking and stuff like that. So yeah.
It's definitely a journey.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we could sit here all day and talk about this. It's a really interesting topic, but I'd like to thank you for joining the round table, and see you next time. Thanks.
See you next time, Alan. Have a great day.
Everybody.
Bye.
See you. Bye-bye. Thanks,
Bye-bye.
guys.
Bye.